What is that, herpes on your face?
I did find out I have it not too long ago.
Did you actually? You waited till recorded to say that one? That's awesome.
Oh, I don't care. Everybody's got it. It's the kind that everybody's got.
What do you mean it's the kind that everybody's got it? I got herpes?
Like, no, I don't know for sure, but like lots of people have HSV1. They just are asymptomatic.
Oh, so it's not, it's like, what's that one that they have a shot for now that the girls have to take but not the guys? Is it that one?
That's HPV.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was HPV because that can lead to cervical cancer.
Ah, so you don't have
Yeah.
HPV.
No, I don't have HPV,
How do you know?
but well, because I took a blood test. That's how I know I have the one that's not that.
Ah,
But if I can reference a great comedian, and if I remember his name, Zach. Oh shit. I'll never remember this and I feel bad, but he has a great joke where he talks about getting HPV and he said, which honestly, if you're going to have H something V, it's not a bad one.
yeah. Couple letters off from it being detrimental.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think I've heard someone say HPV is the thing that you say everyone has just before you give it to someone or just after you gave it to someone or something.
No, that probably is herpes, HSV. Yeah.
Don't worry, everybody has it. Did you give me
Yeah.
herpes right now?
Everybody has it because I'm going around spreading it. I'm just licking unprotected drinks at the bar.
Think you're getting roofied? No, you're getting lesions.
Yeah, I'm squeezing the sores out into like various water fountains.
Well, I'm thoroughly disgusted and I like it.
Good.
Just by the squeezing of it into water taps. Not that you have is SV? Am I doing the right?
HSV1.
Well, there's a what? What's the two?
2 is the one where it's all over your junk.
Oh, so we got to make sure to definitely say the one. RJ's
Yes.
got the one, not the two.
Yes. I'm the one that you can see when you're fully clothed.
You see me coming. The twos, you don't see them coming. All right. Well, that's awesome. Today, Rick, you made a weird laugh.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Why not? It's not awesome for you to have it. I don't know. Everybody has it, so I guess it's not that bad. But it's awesome for this conversation.
That's true. That's true. I hit my vape?
I got my own. Thank you, sir. You can get these in Canada at the store. I got one for Christmas. Okay.
Oh,
This little
nice.
guy. And I open it up. My sister, we do a gift exchange or whatever. My sister-in-law got me. She didn't know what to get me. She's like, Richard likes marijuana. So whatever, she gets me this. She's like, can I get like a shatter, a shat thing or a vapor? Can I get a vapor? Anyway, she didn't know what to order, so she got me this. But I never had one before. I just smoke bongs usually. And I pull this out. I'm like, whatever, I'll smoke this thing. And I'm sucking on it. Look, you can see vapor come out. But I was sucking on this. It had like a little fucking cap. And I didn't know. I was just sucking it like the fucking thing sucks. I was walking around for like 2 days with like a stupid cap on it. I was like, Sarah, am I doing something wrong?
Something. You're just lightheaded.
Sarah's like, I don't know, man. I've had these before. They work. Me and her were both fucking stuffed. And then I'm super baked smoking my bongs. I was like, fuck this thing. I'm like, oh, there it is. And I took it off. And it's been glorious ever since. So thank you, Jessica Stoodle, for
Better for your lungs.
yeah. Is it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. People there's a lot of fear mongering about vaping going around, but like that versus fucking cigarettes or just burnt weed. Come on, man. One of those is definitely better to be inhaling than fucking other.
I don't know, the thing built in the laboratory or the thing built by God himself getting puffed into your lungs.
It's on fire. Also, cigarettes are not built by God.
Tobacco was.
Tobacco maybe, but you can't light plant material on fire. There's a reason you're not supposed to inhale smoke when there's a fire.
You don't know that. That's what the propagandists have been telling you this whole time.
Vapor is something people put in a machine on their nightstand to make them less sick.
I just like smoke for some reason. Like I don't like this as much. I do like it. Gets me fucking high as shit. but I like the feeling of your lungs filling up with disgusting cancer. I don't know what it is. I should quit smoking, but not today. Quitters never win. Winners never quit.
Until they get cancer and die.
Still, then you just don't quit and you beat cancer,
Yeah.
apparently. That's all I have to
I'm trying to keep my streak. I want to die a winner at the age of 51.
51, heart disease. Take that. Try and beat me. I dare you. You're going to lose. You're going to die last.
COPDGOAT.
No Rick today. I would have waited for him, but I'm going to Jamaica. I don't have enough time to push this off, so we're doing it. No Rick today. He couldn't come. What kind of lie are we going to make up today? We made up a few lies every time he doesn't come.
Oh, I don't think we've lied.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's always the truth. Hmm.
He's out protesting the new Nosferatu movie for its horribly stereotypical portrayal of vampires.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. He's very upset about how like they're
Yeah,
more nuanced than this. Have you
yeah.
talked to me? They're into computers now.
Yeah, he's like, we don't all look like that, okay? Some of us put clothes over our decomposing parts.
What this isn't the 1700s.
Yeah.
Poor guy. So yeah, let's encourage him on his you know what, even though it's I don't really agree with like I feel like the movie's fine. I'll still support him in his like his crusade, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
It's bum. Bloodsuckers on lives matter. That's what he's
bloodsuckers on lives matter for sure. I
yeah.
could just imagine that going over very well with another community, just putting that out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I did an episode. I'm going away to Jamaica, so I literally sat down. I had a bunch of time off for around the holidays. This is coming out in the new year now, so yeah, around the holidays, I read an entire true crime book, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna write a whole episode about this. I wasn't going to at first, but I changed my mind because I liked it.
Nice.
It came across my desk because of like Satanic Panic. Like I have interest in the 70s and 80s when the States and Canada and I guess a lot of the world went crazy with Satan's killing kids and shit.
What do you mean it came across your desk like you're an editor of a magazine?
I am. I am. No, people send me recommendations of shit to do all the time. Just I have a bunch of shit on the list right now. The reason I went with this one is because of the Satanic Panic one. Yeah, so it's going to go back to 1972 in New Jersey. The murder of a 16-year-old girl named Jeanette DePalma.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
The reason Satanic Panic gets me so like I interested so I just love how you can just I don't know blame Satanists and witches and people just like eat it up. They'd be like, fuck yeah, it was definitely Satanists. No evidence, nothing. I just love how you can do that. Witches are fucking killing everyone out there. Like, yeah, witches are totally. This is the 80s, the 70s. It's not
There is no
1800s.
one in this world more fearful than mild-mannered white.
Just like very like self-centered white people. That's all Satanists are. Like everything's about them. Okay, cool.
Oh, I was talking about the Christians, but that also tracks for them. So
Yeah.
very self-centered white people.
Well, that's true. It's well, give me a black. I was gonna say give me a black Satanist, but I can think of a couple actually. What's that guy that sold fucking his blood in the shoes and the Nikes for a while? That singer, the gay dude who sings Country Road.
Oh,
Or,
Lil Nas X, is that
yeah,
his
Lil
name?
Nas X has sold 100 pairs of shoes with his blood in them, Satanist style.
Yeah,
It's fucking awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that rocks. I
It's
love him.
hilarious. I
He's
think
so
he's
good.
awesome. Yeah, and I've been joking around about being a Satanist for fucking 20 years. I've been saying that since I was probably more than that, probably 25 years, saying Hail Satan and shit like that. Just because, not that I believe in the Dark Lord or anything like that. I just fucking think it's funny to watch Christians squirm, honestly. I squirm when fucking Christians start spouting their dumb shit too.
Yeah, it's just like you know what I get the most is like secondhand embarrassment. Like
Yeah.
wild that they don't feel that, but like anytime somebody's like, well, we're having a rough time, but we're making the best of it. I'm like, yeah, yeah. They're like, just like by the grace of God, and I'm like, ooh, oh God, what the fuck? Like you.
You could,
No, it's all up to you, dude. You got to know that. Like that.
yeah, and I know these guys aren't like I agree with that. That's the secondhand embarrassment is a perfect way of explaining that for sure. Like where it's just cringy. Like, and
Hmm.
my parents are super religious. I grew up that way, like going to church and stuff like that. And I don't know. My parents are good people. I know Christians are all good people. They don't mean anything bad.
Well, well,
No,
let's
I
not
should
generalize. There are definitely good Christians,
uh,
but
I shouldn't say all. What I should say is I know most Christians are mostly good people. There's some bad people in every group of things. It's not like people are Christians in general are all bad people, is what I'm saying.
no, I don't. It's yeah. I don't think every Christian is a bad person necessarily, but like a lot of bad people are Christians.
For sure. But there's a lot of bad people in every sect of the world, right?
Yeah, sure, sure. I think there aren't really all those pedophilic drag queens like people are saying. More a lot of pedophilic youth pastors.
That's true. That's not wrong, but I mean, anyways, that's just shit that's come to. I'm sure there's pedophilic fucking rabbis. Like, I'm sure there's pedophilic.
Oh yeah, I mean most of them because they all suck baby dick. You know about that?
Yes, I do. And it's fucking gross.
Yeah,
What are them, boil?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how babies. There's a problem with those babies getting herpes.
Oh, yeah. Is this a real thing or is this like a
Yeah, it's probably how I got it. Probably a rabbi kissed me on the mouth or something when I was a baby.
rabbi sucking my
Probably
dick?
like, sucked the blood off my penis and was like, mwah.
See, I never had any of the pedophilic bad shit happen to me. It was always just real nice people, honestly, in my church, everywhere where I went. It's just like when I was a kid, I just hated it. I thought it was stupid from like a young age, like 8. I was like, this, none of this shit, this fuck off. There's no guy in the sky giving us all the shit. Like, it's us, man. It's all us. And I knew this very young, but I still felt like trapped by Christianity, by like religion. Not because like my parents forced religion onto me, whatever. I can deal with that, like whatever. It's more because like my whole family is entrapped in it, and like if I said like fuck this shit, then I kind of be like ostracized and black sheep, I guess, which I kind of am now because I don't give a fuck anymore. It made me kind of resent my parents too. That was the other thing, is because like I looked up to them as a kid, but they still believe this dumb shit. How could I look up to them anymore? And then none of this to bash my parents, but I definitely felt like I'm intellectually alone in this house. You know what I mean? Like everyone's stupid in here, so I'm like I have to figure a lot of shit out myself.
That's how Misty is now. I mean, she grew up, her parents pushed it hard, and she just went in the other direction because of how hard they pushed it. You know, it's really not. It's just not good. I mean, because like even when it's not strictly like abusive, it's fucked up. Like they do shit. Like I heard this one story where they were talking about sex in like a youth group, and they take a pencil and they put it into an orange, and they just keep doing it until the orange is mashed. And they're like, yeah, that's what happens when you have too many partners. Which, like, first off, what the fuck? Like, what does a fucking orange represent that? Like, but pussies don't fall apart.
I think that's taken literally as a child. You probably would think that like my pussy's gonna be like I'm not never having sex with anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't know anything about sex, and they're trying to like instill that in kids, and that's so fucked up. You can't do that. It's not fair. That is so beyond the pale, the thing that they accuse people of all the time when it comes to like harming children. And it's like you're doing fucking damage to somebody when you make them ashamed of their body.
Like that's just one thing they do with guilt and all that kind of stuff. Make you feel bad
Yes,
for
yeah.
not helping your douchey neighbor. Like your neighbor's an asshole to you, but you gotta love your neighbor and all this kind of stuff. When you say "fuck that guy," you're a bad person.
Oh,
Or,
and the respect for authority that is so unearned. I will say this though, the reason I'm such a bastard is because I grew up without any form of religion. So, but but that's kept me more safe than anything, I think, because I trust no one. No one has any unearned trust from me, and I think that the exact opposite happens in those communities.
I think yeah, you trust everyone and everyone's very close, and there's nothing wrong with either of them. I think in a way, depending on if you like. I just think the whole fucking jamming something stupid down people's throats forever is just dumb. Like it's just
Yeah, like priest cock.
Shoving religion down everyone's throat like priest cock is definitely dumb. Now I spend a lot of time thinking about religion. It's such a waste of time. I still think about it to this day because, like, I wish I had scientist parents. Like I could have been like using my jumbled brain into thinking of like science stuff instead of, oh, I bashed my toe at my house. Now I can't say Jesus fucking Christ when it hurts because it'll be an argument with my grandma for the next 3 days. It's just a waste of time, waste of life. Just my opinion, but I mean,
Well, they think they're gonna get another one. That's the thing.
yeah, I guess.
They think they're gonna get their forever life, so they don't give a fuck.
I envy some of it. Like, I envy being able to be like, when you die, this is what happens, whatever. Like, I don't have that. I don't want that, though, in a way, but I do envy it because then there's no thinking about, like, what does happen? Is it just blankness? Because that's kind of bleak in itself,
No,
like,
that's nice. That's great. You just get to be done. Can you imagine like dying and then like you wake up and they're like, "There's more to do." Like, fuck.
yeah. Well, maybe it's a checklist. Like, you just have to do everything and you're like on human. Like, there's a million different things it could be, which that's a lot of thinking that whatever. I kind of envy just having to like shut it off sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you just said, just being done. That's what they are. They're done already. Lots of life gets wasted in the name of religion too. Well, I'm not gonna get into a whole fucking side of that shit either. It's too much for this episode. But I did want to point it out, and I also want to say lots of life gets forgotten in the name of like religion and religious beliefs, and that's the case with Jeanette today. I think is just a lot of forgotten life with this girl because everyone wanted to waste it on fucking saying it's fucking Satan when they probably could have figured out what happened a long time before. And now we get stuck with the case. Thanks, Christians. Put more work on our plate.
Remember, this came across Richard's desk.
Yeah. You gotta remember, this is an office. This isn't over Zoom.
Someone put this in his physical inbox.
Yes, in my physical inbox, which
Yeah,
then gets distributed onto my desk by, I'm guessing, Rick, because he doesn't look like you do it.
that's true. That's why it's also overflowing right now. He's not here. And that's why it's always got fingerprints of blood on it because it's after he has lunch.
Yes. We've gone full tilt. He's a vampire. Okay. Sometimes in this case, you're going to notice that the investigation looks so bad that you're going to think the cops were involved somehow. Maybe they were. Fuck the police, am I right?
Maybe they were. We
It's
don't know if the cops were involved in
Well, it's
in
funny
this.
to me because if you read this whole thing, it looks like no one actually looked at evidence and they just went fucking Satan, and then they just went with that, and then that's the end of it.
Oh, yes. Okay, so then yes, the cops were involved. Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so bizarre to me. It's almost unreal, and you're gonna like the case isn't crazy. It's just how it comes to this is crazy to me. There's like 100 theories for this, and I say 100. I'm obviously being facetious, but like there's so many theories because nobody did any work, so a lot of people just made shit up. So let's go. Let's do this. It's gonna be a nice long one.
That sounds like Christianity.
Yeah, exactly. So Jeanette Christine DePalma was born on August 3rd, 1956 in Jersey City, New Jersey. Is this like a real thing where New York people hate New Jersey people?
New York City people, just because they're like so close together, and it's very funny because like they are like on either side of that river, it's basically the same fucking place. And I'll die on that hill because the only people who give a shit are the ones who live in New York City and get mad when people say they are from New York when they live in Jersey, which is
Oh,
just so dumb.
but isn't like just across the river, just like the suburbs of New York anyway? Like, doesn't people just work in New York City because it's very close by, most people anyway?
Like if you look at it like how like dense the population is over there in like Newark, where it's like right across the river from New York City, it's basically the same fucking thing. Like it's just like the outskirts of the density. Yes, if you go further west into Jersey and even like south, it becomes just like fucking rural. But the same is true for New York State when you go up north. They're the same fucking place. Every tri-state area in the United States is the same fucking place. Like it does not get different until you get like states and states away from places. And even then, overwhelmingly, we're all the fucking same. And we just pretend like we're not because people love conflict.
We watch the same movies. Eat the same food.
Yeah, like the difference between somebody who lives in Newark and who lives in New York City, both of them fairly close to either side of the river. The only difference is that river. They're exactly the same. And they are more similar than people from where I live and people from where Rick live. And Rick and I's demographic is exactly the fucking same. Like
It's just interesting. I just thought there was a big feud. I was gonna see if you would, but you don't care at all. Okay.
no, I don't know. I'm in the city, so like I don't give a shit. And I think everything that people care about in New York City is fucking stupid anyways. So
I thought it was like the whole states hated each other. Like it's like rival states. Like I thought New York and New Jersey were
no,
like, no. Okay. So I
no,
was wrong on that.
no, yeah. I think that and that is also stupid if anybody feels that way. I would like you to know that you're
Well, good thing they're from New Jersey because now you're just proving my point. Okay.
they are the worst fucking drivers. Every time I see a Jersey license plate out here, I do hope they die.
All right. That works. I got so confused with this because it's like densely populated areas and everything's broken into, you guys fucking break everything into counties and townships and shit like that. It gets super confusing. So
Wait, you don't have that kind of stuff?
I don't live in a place where it's super populated. I live in like my little place is a huge county where no one could like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Wait, I mean, we
gigantic.
got that too.
But it just gets confusing because all these things are within 5 miles of each other. So shit's happening in like Springfield, New Jersey, and then something's happening in Union County, New Jersey, and then it's like, wait, how far is that from each other? To me, that could be 25 miles, but it's 5 miles max, 6, 7 miles. So Springfield's bordered by Millburn to the north, Union Township to the east, Kenilworth to the southeast, Westfield and Cranford to the south, Mountainside to the southwest, and Summit to the northwest. Springfield, New Jersey's in the middle. If I say anything, it's all within close with each other, so it makes sense to myself. Springfield's 5.16 square miles, so it's like not that big to traverse side to side. Anyways, all those little places I'm probably going to mention, all in the same area. I'll try and give mileage distance to give better reference points.
Oh yeah, that's in there. That's not even like really close. It's outside of Newark, but
Like I said, everything around it's just so close that like you could be one block in fucking Springfield and then the next you're in fucking Millfish or Millburn and then you're like, oh okay, that wasn't far. I just when they say she went over to Millburn on this street, I'm like, oh that was a 3 minute walk. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, that's interesting. They don't just call it Newark because it basically is.
Springfield's its own town and that's the real problem. It's 11,000 people or 11,006 I think right now. Back then it was still a little. It was a little town by itself. So they're trying to make it sound. There's all these different police stations in all these little counties too. So that makes it confusing because there's like 6 cops in the one, let's say, and then they have to borrow cops from the Union County place. So there's a lot of that shit going on too. So cops are retarded always, most times that we read in these cases.
Always, most times.
Well, in these cases is what I mean. They're always retarded every time, basically, because that's why they didn't get solved. Because usually the cops fucked up the investigation. Usually, this case it just boggles my mind a lot more than usual. Anyways, so Jeanette's father was the owner of an auto salvage company called D&D Auto Salvage, and her mother Florence was a homemaker. Salvador's business was very successful, and he made a bunch of money. Their house was on Mountain View Road in Springfield, and it's basically on top of a mountain, and it has a perfect view of the Manhattan skyline from where he sat, which
Oh,
beautiful house. He bought the house in the 60s for $65,000, which amounts to if you just do like a converter today, it's $800,000 in today money. But like, I feel like that doesn't really compare in like real estate money on top of a mountain with the Manhattan skyline. I bet you that's $1.5 million house. Anyways, they had a big house. They needed a big house. The Palmas had 8 kids. Jeanette was seventh out of the 8 kids. I don't know all the names, but I tried to get them. So if I say any of these names, probably sister. So they had her younger sister, her name was Cindy, and older ones, all I could find was Gwendolyn, Darlene, Carol, and an older brother named Frank. So I'm missing like 3, but they don't get mentioned anyway. So 8 kids, that's a lot, but they were super Catholic. So, jamming out kids. Super Italian and Catholic. So jamming out kids.
that'll do it.
Jeanette was described by many people in town as a little bit weird. Never really smiled. From what I took from reading a bunch into this, is she was just like the stoner kid. Just didn't really hang out with everybody, just her little group of friends, and she was cool with them, but everybody else, fuck you, kind of thing.
Is it confirmed she smoked weed?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, according to her parents and her friends. Yeah, one weird detail that came up in multiple places was that Jeanette would always have a hairbrush with her and she was constantly brushing her hair. So like the stoner part, not really that weird, but the hair brushing, that shit's fucking weird. Like imagine just like want to go after school and smoke a joint with me?
well, I think it's an American thing, Richard. We all have hairbrushes in our back pockets. I don't know. I mean, sorry, we're not like the dreaded and matted and disgusting Canadian bedheads. Like that's what we call you guys, bedheads.
Oh, okay.
We all have very straight and clean hair.
That during that entire time I was fake brushing my hair and you looked more creepily at me than normal.
Well, yeah, because it's also our mating ritual.
Okay.
We like to, everyone needs to have the cleanest hair possible because if you have the most lice, you're a desirable American mate.
And then that's how you get herpes.
No, you get that from rabbis.
Sucking your dick when you're a kid. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a little weird to me, but anyways, one of her teachers, Margaret Bandrowski, along with others, not just her, said that she had a little bit of a wild side. They kept saying wild side. I'm not really sure what that means.
Is that because she only brushed one side of her hair
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
let the other one get
The
trans?
other side of her head was wild. Her hair was crazy. Yeah. Another neighbor called her promiscuous. So like, was she slutty? Is that what they mean? She had wild side. She just like slutty, or is it because
That just sounds misogynistic. That feels like either like a bitchy older lady neighbor or some like disgusting hebephile male neighbor.
100%? She was 15 years old.
Yeah, it's a fucked up thing to call a child.
Yeah, promiscuous.
I hope that person's super fucking dead or miserable before they die.
Other things that people said about her, not just promiscuous to make the wild side. Apparently, she was into the occult, at least for a bit. Her mom and some of her friends said that she had started looking into witchcraft and had a few Satanism books. She also smoked weed, and apparently she took pills, according to her parents. Her parents were strict, from what I can understand, and they were super pissed about it. And then later in the book, Florence is quoted as saying, like, once Jeanette received Jesus, she stopped doing drugs. So apparently, like, she converted into the Jesus stuff just before her death. I think this is kind of a fact. It's not just because her parents said that. I think a lot of people started saying she was going to church more often. The whole family actually was described as weird. Jeanette's dentist, I found this hilarious. The guy, like, identified her body later on. He took a shot at her in the book when I read the case.
The dentist identified her body?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did she have no one who loved her? What the fuck?
No, she didn't have much left of her to identify with.
Oh, okay. You're burying the lead there.
So I just find it funny that the dentist took a shot at her. I read the book called Death at the Devil's Teeth: The Strange Murder That Shocked Suburban, New Jersey by Jesse Pollack and Mark Moran. These guys interviewed the dentist and he didn't want to give his name for the book. He was like, I'll tell you things, but don't fucking reveal who I am. I got to live around these people, is what he says. And he didn't mind saying that she was odd and that the dentist said, like, I wouldn't leave my kids with her. If I had to, no, there's no way. She's quote unquote not an all-American girl.
What the fuck does that mean?
Exactly. She smoked weed. That's
Was
what it
she
means.
Chinese? Like what?
She smoked weed and probably like wore pitch black hair or whatever. Like she was doing something like
Oh my god, I hate
witchy.
every motherfucker in this story.
Other people in town said that the family was weird as well. Neighbors claim that the DePalma family never left their house, and if they did leave, they didn't interact with any of them. They also said that they heard Florence and Salvador fight all the time, and they'd have to send the cops over to the house, and by the time the cops showed up, whatever fight would be over, and Salvador and them would shoo the cops away. There's also rumors out there that the De Palmas were involved somehow in the mafia. Italian rich guy in auto salvage with lots of money
Yeah,
in New
that
Jersey.
sounds like something people would wonder and guess at.
For sure, especially if they're
Very
weird.
surprising.
And I find it hilarious because that's why the dentist is like, I don't want to give my name. I'm scared of these people because he thought they were in the mafia. Anyways,
Well, I can't say that I am going to critique them for their Italian hate, but
suddenly I don't hate everybody in this story.
well, Hey, I don't hate all Italians anymore.
Oh, okay. Why not? An Italian doctor gave me my herpes medicine.
There's one really cool one that made some headlines recently.
Oh, yes, you're.
They're not all bad.
That's the one you think is good. Okay, I'm moving on. Good old Luigi.
Yeah, no, the best one.
Yeah. Apparently, Springfield and surrounding areas, especially in the Mountain View area, had a fairly heavy mafia presence. Open secret. So it wouldn't be a surprise if they were. The family for sure denies it, though. The whatever whoever's alive now. Salvador DePalma owned his own auto salvage company, pretty well off. Who the fuck knows? What do you know? You're the grandkid, you know? He could have definitely been in the mafia. You would have never known.
Yeah.
In the early 70s, though, this is why I don't think they were probably in the mafia, but maybe, is that the De Palmas made the jump from Catholicism to the Jesus movement. Do you remember the Jesus movement? The Jesus people? The Jesus freaks?
No, I'm 32, so I'm not really familiar with things that happened 52 years ago.
No, we talked about these guys in the past in another episode. Dean and Tina
Well,
Klaus.
I also don't listen very well, so
Well, I'm going to remind you. You remember the couple that went missing with their baby? They found two bodies, no baby body. The baby ends up being alive after they do a DNA test, find her in the middle. They said, "Oh, your parents were murdered." And then these two guys went missing because they joined
was that
like,
the one where we did a bit about belts somewhere in there?
yeah, probably. I
Was
don't
it
remember.
belt bit? I can't remember either, but yes, yeah, I'm recalling this.
So these people were like a cult of Jesus hippies that would go around like picking up people and like bringing them off to their communes and shit like that. That's what happened to these two guys.
It's crazy that you asked me with a straight face if I would remember that.
I'm sorry. I'm far more invested in the show than you are.
It's not even be invested in the show. There's no fucking way I would.
As soon as I saw Jesus freaks, I was like, "Oh, there's no fucking way these Jesus freaks are involved in this."
Your special interests just lie in other places than mine, I guess.
That could be it.
Weird religions.
Jesus people, they're like what the evangelical church is today. They kind of like morphed into that with like speaking in tongues, faith healing, shit like that.
Just great people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say it right off the top that I think the Jesus freaks are involved in this. Probably that's my theory. Just because these guys did crazy shit in the past. Like I don't know if you. We'll go over a couple things they did so you can remember the episode. So, the pastor of this little church they went to, I forget what it's called. I'll say it a little bit later. He was that guy. He did the faith healing, speaking in tongues, hellfire, brimstone. The devil is real and he's coming to kill you. And the De Palmas went to this church 3 times a week, and they dragged their kids with them. The church is called the Assemblies of God Evangel Church. Kind of jumped from being Catholic to that. That was just before Jeanette died, kind of about maybe a year before, a couple years before.
That's kind of a wild leap. Like that must mean they cared more about religion than the average Catholic. Like that. Look, this Catholicism isn't serious enough for us.
They just, I bet you one of the older kids, because I'm pretty sure, and I didn't write this in the script, but one of the older kids was in rehab for like drug use and shit like that. So like I think they probably were like, we need to get you like, faith healed, or like they thought going a step above of what Catholics will do to help their drug addled children. When in reality, all they had to do is not force Catholic down their throat. They probably would have been fine.
Well, that's fair.
This story happens when Jeanette's 16. By that time, there's still 5 kids living at home. Or sorry, there's still 3 kids living at home, only 5 people living at home. It's actually August 7th, 1972, 4 days after Jeanette's 16th birthday. It was a Monday, and Jeanette was a little overwhelmed that morning. Flo and Sal actually had to sit down their family and inform them that their cousin, their niece, had been missing for about a month, and they weren't sure what happened to her. Their cousin Lisa. Thing about Lisa ran away a couple times already before. She was a little bit older than some of the kids. She's 17, or I think she's 17. And the family wasn't worried until just recently about her disappearance. They were worried like within this week because it hasn't never been this long. So when they sat down and told Jeanette this and the other kids, Jeanette like freaked out, pulled like a full teenager mode on her and went like, as if you didn't tell me Lisa was missing. And it's like, oh, okay, you didn't even know she was missing till I told you. You know what I mean? Like, why do you care? Like, I have teenagers.
In like your basement?
And just, yeah, right now, one of them's in my basement.
Like Are they restrained?
To their phones, yeah, definitely. I don't think I could pry it out of their hand if I wanted to.
That's a clever way to keep them on lock and key. Give them phones.
So, anyways, she freaks out, has a little meltdown, teenager meltdown, as if you didn't tell. Storms back to her bedroom. I guess her mom got in a fight with her, got mad at her, gave her a bunch of chores. One of them being scrubbing the bathrooms. Her best friend Gail calls her early that afternoon, or late morning, early afternoon, and asks her when are we going to hang out. The day before, they'd made plans to hang out with some boys they met at Echo Lake Park. She goes, "Oh, I can't go. I have chores. Like my mom's not going to let me go anywhere right now." And then Jeanette's friend Gail is pissed and she's like, "You're not leaving me alone with these guys. Figure out a way to get out there." Hangs up with Gail after she says, "Okay, I'll hitchhike over. My mom's not gonna stop me. I'm 16 now." Cindy, her younger sister, claims that Jeanette asks her to take the 8 mile walk to Gail's house at Berkeley Heights, which, like, 8 miles, if I'm not mistaken, is a lot to walk. That'd probably be like a 4 hour walk.
What's the average walking speed?
I could have figured this out. In my head, I know how long it takes to walk 2 kilometers.
Yeah, you're right. It's about 2.5 hours, maybe a little more.
That's a long walk. And her little sister is like 15 years old, just like a year younger than her. She's like, "Nah, I don't want to. I'm already have my own problems. I have to wait by the phone. Me and my boyfriend are fighting." So Jeanette's like, "Whatever, I'll go by myself." Cindy says Jeanette was gonna go hang out with her boyfriend before work, not go hang out with Gail, and it's two boys, like an actual boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Jeanette had a job. She worked at a department store called Brooks Department Store, and she had an evening shift that day, so it wasn't like she was leaving early afternoon, so it's not like she was leaving right for work. According to Cindy, she worked at Brooks Department Store, though. According to Gail, they just worked at some sleazy telemarketing place where some guy just paid them cash and they went upstairs and like answered phone calls or whatever because they were 14 years old and 15 when they got this job and they couldn't work anywhere legally. So this fucking creepy guy just got them to answer calls for them, which cool. Doesn't really matter, I guess, where she worked. Doesn't change anything. Cindy remembered her boyfriend being named Tommy. Darlene, one of Jeanette's older sisters, also said that Jeanette had a boyfriend. She couldn't recall his name, but that he just had blue eyes. Gail disputes this, saying Jeanette didn't have a boyfriend and Tommy was the name of her boyfriend. So either way, I guess it doesn't really matter where she was. She left that day to go meet up with Gail, apparently. So she leaves the house. She heads to the highway to hitchhike the 8 miles to her friend's Gail's house. She tells her mom, though, that she's going to head up to the train station, which was 3 miles away instead of 8, and would take the train the rest of the way. So she must have had money just to get on the train. Her mom offered to give her a ride, but she said, "I'm 16 now. I can take care of myself." So Jeanette was said to have hitchhiked many times in the past. So maybe she just got a few cents for the train from her mom and decided she could just hitch anyway and just get some cash out of the deal. She did tell Gail she'd be hitchhiking, so I'm assuming she was doing that instead of taking the train. Gail also said she wasn't super brave when it came to hitchhiking. So like if she saw a weird vehicle or something, they wouldn't get into everybody's vehicle. It would have to be someone they kind of knew or like knew from church or like from school, older boy. It wasn't just random people. But anyways, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really matter where she went, train, hitchhiking. She disappeared. The last place she was seen, she was crossing the road at the corner of High Point Drive and Summit Road by one of her friends. All she had with her was her purse, her wallet, and whatever she was wearing. She never shows up at Gail's. She never shows up to work. Time passes. Flo and Sal are just having a normal Monday. Imagine Sal's out at work. Flo just doing her thing around the house. Supper time hits. They all have supper together. Jeanette's not there. They kind of wonder why she's not there. Gets evening. Start to get uneasy. Jeanette would have called if she's going to be this late. She had in the past. She also knew that if they needed a ride from them, like if she needed a ride, she was stuck somewhere. She'd done it many times in the past for call. They would go get her any time of night. They were those kind of parents. Never got a call. So they start getting worried. They start calling Jeanette's friends. No one heard from Jeanette. And by 10 p.m., they're calling the Springfield Police Department to report a missing person. And the police do the classic thing they did in the 70s, which was, do you know, when someone gets reported missing,
No,
you have to wait 24 hours.
that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. So they right away tell them, police, right off the top, call us tomorrow. Okay. It's 10 o'clock at night. We're busy. All right. So they do that. They wait the 24 hours. But before that, they say, okay, we're going to not report her as a missing person. We're going to report her as a runaway. Now you have to take it seriously. You have to at least look for her now. And then tomorrow we'll change to a missing person. So they do that. The runaway thing, cops kind of believed it. I can't really blame the police on that. She has run away multiple times, Jeanette, in the past, just for like a day. So it's not like, so cops probably just first day were like, yeah, she just ran away. Her cousin just ran off, so it's not like a big surprise. Cops kind of just probably look at the family and are like weirdos. But the De Palma listing her as a runaway actually has consequences for them later that are like weird. And I'll bring it back up in the theories. But like instead of just reporting her missing right away and calling her a runaway, yeah, it adds to a pile, to one of the piles. For the first few weeks, the De Palmas just like kind of held up hope and just assumed she ran away. That's what they kept telling their friends on multiple occasions. Didn't really tell the newspapers that yet, though, or police or anyone. They just told their friends in private that, yeah, they weren't worried and she ran away. Like, I don't know about this shit, man. Some people are rumors in this case, man. I'm just gonna tell you right now, the rumors in this case, unreal. I kind of said it earlier up top, but just everyone just says shit happens. Everyone's like, okay, that happened. After a couple weeks of thinking she had run away with none of her stuff, and knowing hearing anything from the police department, the De Palmas decided to organize their own search party with flyers and stuff. And they went across the river to New York, assuming that's where her daughter ran off to. None of that panned out, really. After their New York search, they started searching door to door in Springfield, Mountainside with her photo, still nothing. Police still thinking she's run away for a bit longer. Then they decided, you know what? It's been a couple weeks, let's talk to her friends about this. And they find a heavy metal kid, like another stoner kid from the school named Louis or Lewis. I'm not sure how you say it. Jeanette used to hang out with this guy. So that was one of her friends, and they just interrogated the shit out of him. Where is she? That's pretty much it for the friends. Nothing from Lewis. 43 days pass till September 9th, 1972. A lady named Grace Treesone. Some people are calling her like the super of the building. I think she just lived in this place at a place called Gardens Complex in Springfield. She lets her dog out in the morning, I guess, and her dog likes to wander. He goes into the bush line. A couple hours of the dog being out, they see the dog running in the distance, big Dalmatian. Looked like he had a big bone in his mouth. As he got closer, she could see that it wasn't a bone. By the nail polish on it, it looked like a forearm that the dog was carrying.
Oh,
The dog found a body part. She instantly calls the police. First officer on site is a guy named Donald Schrute. We're calling him Schrute. Officer Don Schrute. He saw the severed and rotting arm and immediately thought that Miss Treesone was a victim of a prank. Apparently, this place, this apartment complex, was a victim of practical jokes all the time. The teenagers that lived there would take all the garbage bags and like rip them open and put them across the lawn once a month at least, just so the super had to clean up. I nowhere ever said that. There's a couple places that articles from later on that said that she was the super and she had to clean it up. The original like research in this never says she's the fucking she's not the super. But anyway, somebody had to clean it up. So he assumed it's a prank, which that prank is not even funny.
no.
If you could figure out like a contraption where the garbage falls on her head or some shit, like that shit's kind of funny. You know, like you walk through a door and the garbage hits from the face. Come on, just rubbing it all over the
You could
lawn.
somehow incorporate some more physical violence into this.
Not covering her in garbage. Incorporate the covering, smelling like the
Yeah,
garbage. That's the funny
garbage,
part.
which has notoriously safe and monitored things inside of it.
Whatever. Everybody already has herpes anyway. Who cares?
Yes, but not everybody has the other H,
Oh,
something V,
yes.
as we spoke about earlier.
Yes, that happens in garbage.
There's needles in garbage.
That's true, especially in New Jersey.
Yeah, I would even go as far to say as only in New Jersey. That's just the type of place it is. That's how they rock.
Take that, New Jersey, you fucks. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he immediately thought it's a hand of a mannequin. He gets closer and he notices, yeah, no, that's a fucking real hand. Look at it's gross. It's fucking rotting. It's weathering. Been outside quite some time. It was leathery. It was maroon colored, the skin.
Oh,
Yeah. So he called for backup. And as you can imagine, the whole fucking force came out that day. In a little town like that, an arm gets found. Everybody's very curious. In this town of 11,000, I bet it was less back then. I didn't check them out. But the police chief obviously shows up, 50-year-old named George Parcell. He immediately orders a search for the rest of the remains, guys. I was like, who the fuck wouldn't? Oh, the cop just sits there and goes like, you know what? We're done for the day. Let's pick this up bad tomorrow. You know, like, anyways, I just hate dumb reporting. He has to call cops from the Union County next door, bloodhounds to come like do some bloodhound work. And they start looking. It took them about 4 hours to organize the search. And they start looking for her around 3 p.m. Located only a short distance away from Wilson Road Apartments, where Miss Treesone and her Dalmatian lived, was a place called the Hoodale Quarry. Nowadays, that quarry's abandoned, but in 1972 was in full operation. It is a vast open area with surrounding woods running adjacent to it the entire length of Mountain View Road. So if you were to like drive down that road, you wouldn't even know there's a quarry there, but it's huge. And the quarry was a wealth of work for people in that time, but it was also like it had the quarry where they mined out rock and shit. But they also had at the other side of the quarry was a makeshift shooting range the police department used on weekends. So it wasn't like an official place, but they go shoot skeet and stuff out there. So it was well known to the local, especially the police. So a short time later, while searching around the quarry, another gruesome discovery was made. The upper portion of an arm was just laying there as if it had fallen off when the dog was playing with the other half. So the dog probably was playing with both halves, lost one and said, fuck it, I'll go back home now.
Oh, fuck.
So they knew they're close. They weren't exactly sure where. Then they look up and they see a lofty bluff overlooking the quarry. Police decided they should go check up there. Many police said it was hard for them to climb. Like they kept falling, like slipping as they're going up. They had to like grab onto shrubs, pull themselves up to the top of it. And as soon as they got up to the top, and out of breath, Officer Don Schrute saw the severely decomposed body of Jeanette laying right in front of him. She was
Oof.
laying face down on a flat area, wearing a blue t-shirt and tan pants. These are the same clothes that she was described as wearing when she went missing. She had no shoes or socks. There were flip-flops, but they weren't on her feet. They were just laying near her body. Animals had eaten most of the flesh off her face and feet. The one arm was missing, so they could assume that the found arm and upper arm that they found from the dog was hers. She was almost unrecognizable as male or female. They had no clue which she was at first. The only thing tipping them off was the nail polish on her hands.
Mm.
So they had an idea who it was. They didn't really know it was Jeanette. That was the only really missing person at the time. But they didn't know for sure until they talked to the dentist. Her head was resting on the remaining right arm, which was resting on a fallen tree branch that was beside her head. Her head was less of a head and more of a skull adorned with long black matted hair. Her body was a grayish brown, leathery. It was hard to tell though because she was in such advanced state of decomposition that her clothes had fused to her body. She didn't look as though she was beaten up or killed in an accident.
How the fuck would they know?
Usually in those types of corpses, they'd be sprawled out or distorted or in some kind of fetal position trying to block themselves.
Oh, yeah, surely she seems very composed, and
She was described as looking almost peaceful, like she was sleeping.
that's me when I'm sleeping, all marooned and leathery.
Missing an arm. It's great.
You know me.
Her body had already started to sink in spot, meaning that the body had been sitting there for quite some time and decomposed a bit before someone found her. It was a black spot when she was left there for weeks after. Now, Officer Schwert gets a little wonky to me. Up until this point, I was kind of cool with him. I have no problems with him. He's just found the body and he like kind of helped out. And I know he just kind of said, "Oh, this is a prank," but whatever. I didn't care until now. This is where he claims that there's a wooden cross over her head made out of two sticks, and there's some stones that were arranged around the top of her head that were like in the shape of a halo. He's making bold claims right off the top. Photos are taken of the scene. Okay, we'll look at the photos in a bit. But let's talk about some other stuff first. But let me just say that Officer Schwartz kind of pissed me off. Near the body was what appeared to be the contents of her purse. The contents were all dumped into a pile beside her head, or beside her body, I guess. There was a pack of tissues, a Vicks inhaler, small lipstick, a blue comb, a key on a key ring, a small eyeshadow box, and a clear vial with an unknown substance. Unknown substance at the time. Later on, they looked, it was some sort of like cough medicine. Florence said that she was kind of sick the day she left, so it was probably just cough medicine she took from home. What was missing from Jeanette was money. I don't know if she spent that during the day or if someone actually took her money. Her purse, the actual physical purse, was missing. All the shit was dumped out. The other thing that was missing, Jeanette's family said that she always wore this necklace that had a crucifix charm on it. And it was like gold and diamond encrusted. She always wore it. So not there. So the only things missing was the purse, her necklace, and maybe money. Who knows if there was money at all. So a swarm of police officers from all departments are now there trying to figure out what happened. Springfield Police Department, Union County Prosecutor's Office, Sheriff's Office. Then they all decided they needed to do an autopsy. Like, yes, of course you guys do. Dummies. How they get the body now, it's so decomposed and it's on top of this thing they could barely walk up. How are you going to get the body down from the quarry's ledge? The cliff, it's called the Devil's Teeth. That's why the book's called Death at the Devil's Teeth or whatever. Because in the 20s, it was called the Devil's Skull. It's just where it is. And there's a big depression up there that gathers water in the summer. And the kids used to use it like before it was mined out like a quarry. Kids in the 20s used to use it like a big hot tub. As they started mining it out, they started like laying down a bunch of the old overburden and broke ash rocks. And it looked like teeth, like where the skull was, where the big depression was. So everyone called it Devil's Teeth. So it has like a creepy name already. This girl is found up there and they're saying it's in an altar. So all this shit's just like piling on as to why this is a satanic thing. You know what I mean? Like anyways, we'll talk more about how the scene was found, but yeah, this place is called the Devil's Teeth where she was found. They ended up having to call the fire department to use their like extendo ladder thing to like crane her down in a body bag, which is like a fucking horrible, disgusting. Like imagine having to do that. Like, that's fucking lots.
No, thank you. I will not.
No, get your mind in there. Think about it. Slimy Jeanette. Well, that's
Jesus, is there any nickname they had for her that wasn't awful?
Poor Jeanette. She did nothing wrong to anyone. I feel bad for these kids because all they're just different than the fucking norm and they get fucking ostracized and called Satanists. Anyways, so yeah, they'd have like take her down. It was an awful job for anybody, you know. Like there's like a lot of stories that affected a lot of people. One guy committed suicide about a year after this happened, not specifically only because he had to help bring down her body, but he definitely talked about it a lot and definitely affected him a lot. So I'm assuming it was part of why he unalived himself. It's rough. So she gets down. They don't have Springfield's kind of a rinky-dink little police. They don't have a really good like coroner's office, I guess, like a good morgue. So they have to send her to the local funeral home, Sullivan's. Yeah, they had better facility there, and they had to do the autopsy at this morgue. First assumption as to cause of death was overdose, or could be altercation, but you know, this girl, it's got to be an overdose.
Yeah, she had black hair. Of course she was a drug addict.
Yeah, I don't know if she had black hair. She's just weird.
Oh.
Smoked weed, you know what I mean?
You're making shit up about her now too?
I wasn't making shit up. I was saying, as an example, they probably just said that.
Fucked up. This girl never had a chance.
This is how the death is framed by police and media just a few days later. Overdose. The autopsy was done by a guy named Dr. Bernie Ehrenberg. Due to the decomposition of the body, there was no official determination of cause of death, but they did rule out some causes of death. So he x-rayed the body, looking for broken bones, fractures, bullet holes, knife strikes. Nothing of the sort was found. Dr. Ehrenberg did say that it is possible that Jeanette could have been strangled. 1/3 of all strangulation homicides, the hyoid bone is broken. It didn't have a broken hyoid, but strangulation is in the books for this one. After the autopsy, Ehrenberg decided that he wanted to do some toxicological. Try and say that. This word is not how I thought you spelt it. Toxicological. There's an extra law.
Toxicological?
Yeah, I can't say that. Yeah, I'm not smart.
I've gathered that.
I've said that a lot of times. I'm not smart. I'm okay with it. Then he sent off a piece of her scalp to the New Jersey College of Medicine and Dentistry Forensic Lab. In the submission paperwork, they give you 4 options to test for: alcohol, barbiturates, narcotics, and heavy metals. For some reason, this fucking guy in his submission paperwork crosses off barbiturates and narcotics. He just tests for alcohol and heavy metals. Like, if anything, knock off the heavy metals. Like, you know she's heavy metal.
This was what, the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, so testing for heavy metals would be redundant because everybody who lived during the 70s brains was like 14% lead. So it probably seems like pointless endeavor because, you know, like you're like, yeah, no, of course there's going to be.
Leaded gasoline has a huge, I don't know if you've ever heard this kind of a side topic, but They think a lot of the reason there's so many serial kills in the 70s and 80s is because of leaded gasoline. So many people having fucked up brains from lead poisoning.
Yeah.
It's
They
fucking
think it's
crazy.
why people tend to vote the way they do and why they get mad. I swear to fucking
I
God.
believe you.
A lot of the older generation, they have no patience and they, and a lot of and here's the other thing. There's a strong link between heavy metal poisoning and Alzheimer's. And I think my feeling and my guess is we're going to see less Alzheimer's patients in millennial generation than the older generations who experienced lead poisoning.
For sure. Leaded gasoline is such a fucking detriment to our environment for so long. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, it gave an entire generation of people who were in control of everything brain damage.
For sure. For sure. I would love to see that study come out, but you'd be murdered to do it because everyone of that age group is like in power right now. They don't want everyone to know they're incompetent and shouldn't be in charge.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's a different conversation, believe. But yeah, he keeps just the heavy metals and the alcohol. Samples came back. Tissue was too deteriorated to test for alcohol, but the heavy metals they had a high lead content, about 0.694, which is like not a fatal amount, but it's significantly higher level than a teenager at that time should have had. Slightly higher levels have been known to cause permanent brain damage and even death. High lead content, but I think everything had lead in it back then, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah, I feel like cereal had lead in it back then.
Yeah, probably. Lots of people don't trust Dr. Ehrenberg, the pathologist, because he wasn't a pathologist. He was like a doctor, like just like a physician. He didn't have the pathology degree. That's like an elected position. He just got put into that position and then was forensic scientist also in its infancy in like 72. So like even if he was, he's like not testing like they would now. He would have had a shitty autopsy no matter what. Even if he did a great autopsy back then, it probably wouldn't have been a great one for today's standards. The only thing that identified her has nothing to do with him. Like I said, was the dental records. A little okay. Let's get off subject for a second because I gotta get this out now because it starts to be prevalent in the entire thing. So
Is it a fart?
no, that would be awesome if I could fart on command though. If I did have a fart jacked up, but it wasn't even that still.
I think you should try, and it'll be even more awesome if you just shit yourself.
You try. You first. It adds a weird theory and it has to do with Ehrenberg and stuff like that. But anyways, I don't know the exact year. I think it's 2004. A magazine called Weird New Jersey, or they go by Weird NJ, started looking into this case. They got a letter submitted to their magazine, 1997, claiming that a girl had died from some ritual sacrifice in New Jersey at the Hoodale Quarry, and no one can figure out who did it. So Weird New Jersey prints this letter in their ninth issue of the magazine in 99, and they got a name back for the story. A bunch of people wrote back. It was a popular letter. They figure out Jeanette DePalma's name, and they start to do an investigation. And I think they just put 6 weeks into this, and they start requesting FOIA documents, which they were immediately roadblocked into getting. Like immediately, for some reason. They're like, oh no, we lost all this stuff in a flood in 1999. The prosecutor's office was flooded out. 1999, nothing left from those days. And they're like, okay. Then they just kept going up the ladder, asking different people, like, hey, they're saying there's no case, but there'd be at the court. They would have photocopied them. There would have been case files somewhere. So they sent out another one in 2014, another letter asking for FOIA, and they said no, we got nothing. It wasn't until 2021 when they pushed, they got the actual police file to this case, all original stuff, nothing damaged in any water capacity at all. The only thing altered was the photos, the crime scene photos, just to take out Jeanette's body. They kind of blacked it out. And it's not like a big blob of black. Like they actually like outlined her body and took out the actual disgustingness of the whole thing. But you could see the whole part around her. So like I don't know why the cops are like blocking this or like the prosecutor's office are blocking this shit. It's just so absurd. It's so weird. These guys are just trying to get a FOIA of a case that's been cold for almost 50 years.
Yeah, a cop killed her.
Okay, maybe. There's so much to this.
That I see there's nothing else going to come out of this that's going to convince me anything other than a cop murdered her. And I'm willing to bet an insane amount of money that if it's revealed in like 5 years, like what actually happened, that it's a cop killed her.
I don't want to take that bet because you're probably right. Like I was like, I'll take that. I don't want to take that bet. It's probably that. but it's just like they blocked a little weird New Jersey. Why are you blocking those guys? It's not like they even have. I can't tell you. I don't know how many subscription like public like magazines they send out a month or whatever, but it's not lots. It can't be lots. Look at their website. It's not. It's awesome. It's from 1995. It's phenomenal. Police are already doing weird shit. They're not testing for fucking like barbiturates and narcotics. Why the fuck not? I feel like that would be the first thing the cops would want to figure out if she was fucked up on drugs. Is this, and then they
Yeah.
can't use the files later on. It just adds to the pile of like the cops are either so incompetent or just so in on it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they murdered that girl.
So they once they get a positive identification, they have to go tell the family. Florence apparently shrieks. That's the quote that I got when she heard of her daughter's demise. I can imagine you'd be freaked out
Like
to hear
out of
that.
happiness.
Yeah. No, it's fucking horrible. Imagine someone you love, just your dog breaks back an arm. Like, just that alone is fucked.
Yeah, I'd probably throw that out.
Yeah. You wouldn't let your dog just gnaw on that?
No, no. And I wouldn't call anybody. I don't want to know. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even call anybody or anything?
No, I got too much going on. I don't want to deal with that.
Would you put it like at least like make sure somebody else found it? Like you gonna pick up the dead arm?
Probably just put it in my garbage bin, and if somebody asked me how it got there, I'd say it's a public garbage bin. I don't know.
You know they're gonna test the arm for whatever hair fell off of you or anybody else.
They'll never be able to figure it out. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do? They're cops. They're not like that's the thing. Again, the way that people get caught by doing crime is because they do a crime that someone cares enough about. And if it's the 1970s and it's a dead 15-year-old girl, there isn't a single fucking person in the world who gives a shit about that. Not even her fucking parents, I guarantee you. Like, for all their sadness, they were probably like, oh, God, well, all right. Like,
I'm so like, okay, I don't want to skip ahead, but you're hilarious that you're reading my mind right now.
oh, cool.
So they start to ask the cop, like she freaks out when she hears her kid died, and then cops start kind of questioning her, asking her questions. Apparently, the DePalmas, both Salvador and Flo, are giving very vague answers to the police, and the police kind of looked at that like, well, that's weird. Why aren't they? They should be more forthcoming. It's to me, it's like, dude, they're just weird
Hmm.
people, and their kid just died. You just told them they're not gonna want to answer questions right away, dude. Like, give them some time, you know?
Fair.
They're just weird. Get over it, you fucking 70 jocks, cops. Like, fuck.
Mhm.
2 days later, Florence made a statement to the Newark Star Ledger saying that she was resigned to the fact that her daughter was dead weeks ago. The Lord already came to her and the Lord had already given her peace. So you're not wrong. They went, I'm good. 2 days later, she's like, don't worry, I already knew. We're good. After the autopsy, the clothes were sent to the Springfield Police Department so they could get some forensic testing done on those as well. When they were returned, they were all wet, gross, full of maggots. Springfield Police Department needed to send these pieces of clothing off to Quantico for tests. The FBI was interested in this now. The Quantico lab tells them that you need to send these clothes dry. So the Springfield Police Department makes a bizarre choice and decides to hang the clothing over a large air conditioning unit on the side of the building for 3 or 4 days to dry out. Isn't that fucked? It was so gross, and everyone was so mad about it. People are like, "You got to take that shit down. Why are you hanging up there?" Like Quantico said, it needs to be dry. I don't know what to tell you. Outside and for everyone to see. There's also a rumor going around that the police didn't have enough space in their morgue for the arm, so they just like put it in the same fridge that officers held their lunch in. Not sure how true that one is though, but it's out there.
And then the next thing is like, Officer Greg Milford accidentally ate the arm. Uh, and then,
Well, the story is that they put it on somebody's lunch pail, and the guy was like, "I don't care, I'll eat whatever." They're trying to make him grossed out by his lunch, and he's like, "Whatever, it's inside of a fucking just an arm," and he ate it. But like, cool
mm,
prank, guys. Cool prank. 3 months or so, the FBI reports from the clothes come back. They said that all the hairs on the inside of the clothes were that of Jeanette's, and there was no evidence of sexual assault. All while the police are doing their investigation, rumors are starting to make their way into the sphere of this case, like into the lexicon or whatever you're going to call it of this case. So some officers, not everyone, but officers for sure, claim that the scene on top of Devil's Teeth looked like it was ritualistic.
oh,
One of Jeanette's cousins said that she went and visited the scene not long after the body was removed, so she could go see herself. She said that when she got there, the police tape was still up. She could see exactly where Jeanette's body was laying because it was all black and depressed into the ground. So she knew exactly where she was laying. And she insists that she sees crosses all around where Jeanette's lying with sticks. There are crosses everywhere. Some of the media starts hearing this. They start interviewing family members and police, and they start hearing that it's ritualistic in nature. And they look at their pocketbooks and go, let's do it, guys. And they start printing this shit. 20 days after finding Jeanette, here's a headline from the Elizabeth Daily Journal. Girl sacrificed in witch rite? Question mark. That's it. That's the whole headline.
Sweet.
And Elizabeth Daily Journal is not like a tabloid. That's like a newspaper. You know what I mean? That's not.
They're all tabloids.
I know, but that's not what people think. That's the crazy part. They look at National Enquirer and go like, that's nuts. But the newspaper's nuts too sometimes. The Elizabeth Daily Journal prints that. They're the first to report this way, and then fucking all the papers start doing it. Schwartz just gave the details. He gives details like, oh, there's sticks crossed that look like crosses and like a halo of rocks. Newspapers give way more details. They're great. They say that she's looked like she's lying in a trapezoidal perimeter broken of branches and logs, like a coffin shaped sitting around her. You know what I mean? Apparently, the trapezoid has something to do with Satanism. I don't really know. It's a symbolic fucking shape in Satanism. They also have claims that there are letters etched in some wood at the scene, arrows pointing towards the body, V's carved everywhere. And if you look at the photos, you can't see any of this shit. It just looks like a fucking bush. She's dropped around some rocks and some sticks. Nothing looks purposely placed to me. But it doesn't matter. Newspapers, as long as they're selling newspapers. Let me reiterate. Not all the police believe this, but some did. Some went to the newspapers. You know what I mean? Once it hit the newspaper, locals, everyone certainly started to believe that fucking Satanism and witchcraft was happening in their backyards. You know who else was helping spread these rumors?
Who's that?
The fucking Jesus people.
Ah.
Pastor Nate from the Assemblies of Evangel Church. Apparently, he's all about the rumors, and he's rumored to be the guy who went to the newspapers with the story to begin with. There's an article in the New York Daily News, I think it was, from October 4th, less than a month after Jeanette's body was found, entitled Priest's Theory, Devil's Disciple Killed Girl. So he's just fucking...
Priest's Theory.
Pastor Tate, we're going to talk about him a bit later. He's a good theory. So what happens to Jeanette DePalma? What happened here? We can go through the many upon many theories that exist, or you can share the theory that you may or may not have now, or you can wait until the end.
So, based on the information given, a cop killed her.
I'm like, trust me, even 50 years after, they'd still cover for them. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You figure, anyways, that's the first
They
theory.
love each other. They all have gay sex with each other, and they think that they are God's gift, which also makes them stupid because they believe in God. So, dum-dums all around.
The first theory is the police. There's a couple different theories that go along with it. It's not super unbelievable, this whole thing, but here's the theories that go along with the police is. So, because of the fact that there's no bullet wounds on the body, according to the pathologist, it doesn't mean that a stray bullet from the shooting range didn't get them. The shooting range that was on the other side of the Houdel quarry. She was up there smoking pot. Cops are out there shooting. You get shot. Cover it up. Pour her down there. Never send anyone up there to go look and wait until someone finds her.
Yeah, that would imply that it was an accident and that cops aren't just inherently fucking evil and did it maliciously. So
That could happen too. A lot of people don't even trust Dr. Ehrenberg's fucking autopsy to begin with.
well, right, because he was a dentist, right?
No, he was a physician, but yes.
You said the dentist I did took care of her body, as far as I know. So
That Dr. Ehrenberg fucked up another case in a couple of years in 1976, like bad, to the point where this is a chick named Beverly Manoff. I looked into it briefly. She was a housewife that was stabbed multiple times. No rape involved, no suspects. I don't know how Ehrenberg fucked up the case. There wasn't lots of it, but Officer Ed Kish, one of the officers that investigated Jeanette DePalma, seems to think he did. He didn't do it with getting into details. He just said this guy fucked up another one, and I'm not going to tell you guys how. It's just you'll never solve that case now because of him. That's what he says in the book. Maybe this guy just fucked up the whole thing. Maybe there was some bullet wounds. He just too stupid to notice them, or like maybe she did get shot in some way or stabbed, and all we have to listen to is that guy's shitty fucking autopsy.
you know, people say that like we're better off if like the just ends. Like
I know I don't
Yeah,
hear
that's
that
true.
often.
No, you don't ever?
No.
Like that humanity's bad, like we should just all not exist. That's a
I,
sentiment that happened.
I've heard people think that.
Yeah. So I'll do one better, and we we need to figure out how to stop existing like 100 years ago. It's so beyond like people just like how do you be a guy who like a doctor who just deals with dead bodies and fuck things up? That is a level of incompetence that I just cannot fucking comprehend. Like it's one thing like if you're a surgeon and you like fuck, it's like yeah, it's a hard job. They're already dead. How do you make that a mistake? Like
Or it could just be on purpose because they're all in on it. He just like says there's no gunshot wound, so no one can
that's
implicate
true.
him.
That's true. Maybe he's having gay sex with all the cops. I forgot.
Yeah, he is. He is, but they're buddies, you know? Like, why not test
Yeah.
for narcotics and barbiturates? Were you guys just plying this girl with cocaine and accidentally shot her in the head and put her in the like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, that tracks.
if the cops are involved, it explains why the case file for this was lied to multiple times to Weird New Jersey. Claim the files were all lost from floods. I mean, they did finally hand it over, but there's no evidence anywhere that any of this didn't happen either. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the police,
True.
fuck the cops. Officer Kish rejects this theory because of he's an officer and he's a piece of shit like the rest of them. He says somebody getting shot at the gun range that they made out in the quarry is pretty much impossible from where her body was. It wouldn't be a stray bullet. It's on the other side of like a fucking mile long quarry.
A cop could never shoot that well or accurately.
Yeah, she wasn't even black.
Yeah. As far as I know, that was a young white girl, not a black man, not somebody's beloved dog, not a playground.
How's he gonna hit that? There's another theory about the police. It actually involves the son of a police officer, the son of the chief of police, Chief Parcells' son. There's a lot of rumors flying around that he went to school with Jeanette and he liked her a lot. He had a big crush on her. When she leaves the house to go meet up with Gail, she runs into the young Parcell boy in his car or whatever. Hitchhikes with him, I guess. Whatever happens, happens, and she ends up dead. So the young Parcell apparently dies from suicide a couple years later. He's so guilt ridden that he had to kill himself because of it.
What did he, linear?
That's the rumor going around the town. But then when you start like looking into this rumor, it's like full of shit because Parcell did have kids. They're both still alive. They didn't kill themselves. They're like 7 or 8 years older than Jeanette would have been. So like they wouldn't have been hanging out in the same circles or had crushes on the 60s. Maybe it is the 70s. You never know. He might have been like a 28-year-old, 27-year-old guy.
Yeah, cruising for a 15-year-old, that's not exactly unheard of,
It's true,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. But still, fuck the police. I agree. I'm with you. So to me, this case sounds like a cop fucking did it somehow at some point. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it wasn't.
Not somehow at some point, easily at exactly the time it happened.
It's just like I don't know if it's an accident, and I don't know like all the. But then also, it could just be that the cops are fucking stupid. Like the cops are just doing a bunch of dumb shit, and it makes them look bad the whole time. Like that Ehrenberg just didn't know better to fucking test for that stuff, or he didn't make a mistake, and there was no evidence of any of that stuff. And they're just draping dirty maggot clothes over air conditioners because they're fucking dummies. Like I don't know in this
They're
case.
dumb, but dumb people accomplish things every day. Most people are dumb. And I think cops are worse because they're maliciously dumb. Like that's the thing. Like you can be a fucking idiot, but like with the right structure, you can do your fucking job. Cops find ways to themselves justify not doing the whole fucking reason they exist. That's just like the most cop shit. And that's what they do. Like, I mean, you go to fucking cop and say, like, hey, somebody stole my iPad. Here's exactly where they are. Can we figure out how to get my iPad back? They're gonna say, there's not really anything we can do, unless he leaves his house or something, this or that. You kill one CEO, and then all of a fucking sudden, they're dredging Central Park Lake. Like,
That was a build up for a nice Luigi joke. Good job.
man, no. I mean I'm done. I hate every fucking cop. I hope bad things happen to every single one of them. I've said it before, but lately,
There's more of the cops fucked up. that I didn't even mention yet.
And I will continue to be not surprised.
In 1972, not like recently, Cindy DePalma, sister, gave a handwritten list of all Jeanette's friends and ex-boyfriends with all their phone numbers on it. The authors got a copy of this list, a photocopy of this list. They tracked down every member on that list that was still alive, and not one of them had been interviewed. Not one. The cops didn't even go talk to any of them.
But that's what I'm saying, dude. It's like it's not even like they don't think to do that. They just decide fucking not to. I don't even think it's just that they're like they're so dumb, blah, blah, blah. No, they can fucking do math and drive a car. They know what the fuck they're doing. They're just lazy. They don't think that people earned their help. That's the thing. They have such a fucking us versus them mentality that they just do not give a shit about you, me, anybody. Like it does not matter.
The paycheck.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. And they think they don't have to do fuck all to do it because they think they're told all the time, oh, you walk out of your house and everybody wants to fucking murder you. That was not always true.
That's true. That's a 80s, 90s, 2000s progression, man. Like, I agree. 70s, 80s, 90s. Even then, they're starting to become fucking pigs. That was the end of the police theory. Are they just dumb or are they part of it? I'm not sure, even if either or both or all of it. I don't fucking know. There's so many more theories to come, but police seem like the most likely from all the stuff that's happened up until like today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The next theory is the kids, the boys that Gail and her were supposed to hang out with, or had something to do with this, or even Gail maybe might be part of it. So the day she went missing, Jeanette was supposed to meet up with Gail, meet with the boys. She never made up with her, but is that never met up with her? But is that entirely true? Maybe they did meet up. Maybe something got out of hand and there was an accident over Devil's Teeth, overdose, whatever. Gail panics, pretended that she didn't even make to hang out with Jeanette. This is just the theory people like to yell. There's no evidence to any of it. These random boys did nothing. I'm glad no one ever figured out their names.
Yeah, it sounds very much like something, that would be spun like, oh, it was these hoodlums, but they're like, oh, what ones? Bad ones, the bad boys of the town,
You know, bad hoodlums.
naughty, naughty boys. And it's like, well, who are you saying this? And he's like, oh, I'm the cops. And that's the
Okay, so the next one is the mafia theory. So I told you at the top of this episode that
that we've been saying, the cops.
yeah, we've been saying, but these guys were mafioso guys. I think the cops would have the balls.
Again, yeah, cop.
It adds to the cops, actually. I never even thought of it to add them together like that, but it's true, eh? Like the cops have.
I'm saying the cops are a mob.
But I mean, like, I'm thinking, let's pretend he is part of the mafia, and cops did kill him, and they wanted to cover it up because they knew fucking mafia people, that's the only way they're not safe, is killing one of their kids or something. So they covered it up to, like, protect themselves from getting fucking killed. But I mean, they do that anyway.
Plausible. Yeah.
But yeah, the Palmas were supposed to be involved in the mafia or something. Salvador was supposedly a capo, according to a neighbor, who also wanted to keep his name anonymous for the book, which I love that. For me, I didn't mind this book. It was fine. But like, if people don't want to go on the record, you get this like earth-breaking, shattering thing about these people. You can't print it. It's no one's gonna back you. I feel like you're making it up. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Some more books, if I called them Mafia. A lot of people are saying this is some payback for some like mafia stuff. That's why the parents really never had a crazy reaction or spoke to the police or helped them that much at all after when they found her, because they figured, oh, it was like some sort of, I don't know, mafia retribution type thing.
Did they have more kids?
They had 7 more kids, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had like 8 of them.
Correct.
I mean, that's why they didn't care.
Yeah, she was the second last one. We're done.
Come at my fucking kids. I got them to spare, buddy. We ain't never seen so many fucking kids. Look at this. I'll fucking kill myself.
How Italian do you think you are? I'm this Italian. I got 8 kids Italian.
Yeah.
Roman Catholic Italian.
I'm coming inside my wife's pussy all day, pal. You knock out as many fuckers as you want.
Oh, gosh. The guys who wrote the book, Death on Devil's Teeth or whatever, they got an interview with one of Salvador's grandchildren. And they have a direct quote from him, which is like, "My grandfather was not a fucking capo just because he was an Italian who made a little bit of money. Everybody who thought he was in the mafia was an Italian family came in, worked our asses off, got a business started. We were able to move to the Jewish area of Springfield." Always looking up as second class citizens in this spot. Fucking Italians.
Yeah, that's exactly what they say all the time in The Sopranos. Is it's the same exact argument, yeah, when they're in the mafia.
I know, that's why I'm laughing. It's just like, I think I did the Italian accent. I'm terrible at accents. I was like, I did it.
No, that was very Boston, but that's okay.
Yes, I fucked it up. Okay. Jesus freaks is the next theory. Like I said, I put this in because Tina Klaus. Okay, just kind of give you some of that episode where they find the baby. They find the bodies, but not the baby. Remember? And then the baby's found through DNA. Biggest suspect was the Jesus freaks from that one because of all the weird shit they did. Like, remember they tried to sell their car back to their mom? Like, their mom gave them a car to drive across the country. They like, brought weird Jesus freaks to like sell the car at some parking lot.
Yeah.
And obviously they stole the fucking baby in that episode too. So I wouldn't put it past these Jesus freaks to like killing Jeanette because she started looking into like occult or witchcraft. She said she's gonna go hang out with them, and then she just gets a witchcraft book, and they like, she's the
Wait, am I
devil.
conflating two stories? I thought they found the baby in that one as an adult.
They did find the baby as an adult, but they never found the baby as in the grave, is what I mean. Because they had the lady was like, "What happened to the baby?" Like, "What baby?" And they found her again.
Right.
Yeah, it wouldn't put me past these little Jesus freaks to like kill the little girl who's just like looking into a cult, like Satanism and shit, because they're fucking psychos and they're like a cult. And if you go against them in the cult, you end up fucking dead. Hence Dean and Tina Klaus. And then they have like a whole zealous church to back Pastor Tate. Pastor Tate's getting kind of creepy. So like, remember when Florence made the statement 2 days after that she said like God gave her peace? That's to me sounds like she was coached by her like Jesus freak people to go on. Tell everyone you're okay. Don't worry. She didn't make it home because we all knew she was dead already. God already told us. Like meanwhile, they could have been the one that killed them. Told them like, see what happens when you start looking into the fucking dark arts. Shut the fuck up. Tell everyone you're cool with it, and let's move on. I don't know. I'm just saying these religious nutbags. Cops are one big thing too, but religious nutbags do some crazy ass shit too. And these to me are religious nutbags. So like I can't take the Jesus freaks off the fucking list for me, man.
Yeah.
Good. I thought you were gonna retort with but fuck cops, and I would have said, yeah, fuck cops too.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I mean, I think like, anybody I hate is a fine suspect. So,
I hate cops and religious zealots equally.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I think anybody could have done it. It could have been the cops. It could have been the religious zealots. It could have been my old boss, Todd. Anybody.
Whoever gave me this fucking herpes.
That too. Yeah.
The next theory is satanic cult or witches. Now, Jeanette was starting to read books on the occult, like Satanism, witchcraft. Apparently, near the end of her life, though, she had given up all that research into the occult, and apparently she's given over her life to the Jesus freaks. That's what her mom says. This actually points more to the Jesus freaks again to me, that did she actually fucking give up her life to Jesus again? Or did she say fuck you and they killed her? But according to her mom, she gave it all up. She was going to youth group and she's helping the kids that were hooked on the drugs, telling them you don't have to. Come to church, you'll be fine. With the theory of the satanic cult is the reverse. It's the fact that she went from looking into the occult and witches and stuff, and she converted over to like Christianity, and the Satanists were mad. So they went and found her for like, you can't leave us, we're Satanists, and then they killed her, and then they put her in that trapezoid because that's supposed to like summon a demon and like put like a halo around her head, which was actually like the crescent moon, man, represents the moon goddess, and she makes the witchcraft stronger. So we put all these upside down crosses because why would we're fucking Satanists? Why would we put right side up crosses? They're all upside down crosses to summon the dark one.
Yeah.
None of this happened. All this is just made up by the media. All this shit's crazy. It's fucking wild to me. All sorts of articles out there. Girl sacrificed in witch rite. Priest says girl killed by witches. One of the articles say that the murderers were possessed by demons. Like that's in a newspaper, in a real newspaper. These people were possessed by demons. One article claimed that there's bowls full of blood and dead pigeons all over the crime scene.
Yeah, people are fucking stupid.
when the Weird New Jersey got the case filed, there's crime scene photos included. I've been letting you wait long enough. You can see them now if you'd like, RJ. Are you interested in seeing these crime scene photos and how satanic this crime scene looked?
Yeah.
All right. This is how they released the crime scene photos, which is kind of funny that they did it at all because we're all fucking adults looking into this. But it is kind of nice that
Oh
they.
my God, she melted so bad.
Yeah. It's literally a black hole, exactly. Like it's not like a blob. You know, sometimes the black shit out is just one big bar. It's not. It's like literally someone went in with a paint crayon and just like drew her out. But like, look,
Like, yeah, it's like they cut it out.
this is where her head's supposed to be. That's the arm. This is the cross, apparently. That's by her head. It looks like fucking sticks, dude, like in the woods, you know? That's crime scene photo one. Like that's her other arm over top of it. That's under her body. Her head's kind of on the arm. This is where the arm's missing. Okay, it just looks like they're in the woods, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the body in the woods.
Do you see any bowls of blood and pigeons?
Well, I think the cops probably drank all the blood when they
Yeah,
got there.
probably. Look on the ground, all the little crosses. Do you see any?
Yeah,
There's not
yeah.
one. Like it's fucked. Did anybody not think that there's crime scene photos taken? Like that's the thing. Is like that why they're hiding the crime scene photos? Now you can kind of see them moving, like they're moving the stick out of the way so this guy here can get in there. I don't know. Fresh meat. Putrid meat. I don't know. This guy looks way too happy to be there.
Yeah, he does not look like a cop or anything. He just looks like a
Yeah,
guy.
he just looks like one of the volunteers who helped find her, and he's like, "Let me move that stick. That'll help the crime scene, right?"
Yeah. Hold on, let me move this so I can get rid of my scrap clothing that's in her clutched hand.
Let me move this into the shape of a cross so I can make it look like ritualistic scene.
Yeah. See, did her arm fall off when he moved that? Because that is a definite contrast to what it looked like
Yeah,
before.
I think they kind of rolled her over to get it out. So her arms back like they stuffed it easier so she can get moved. Because nothing else fell off, I don't think.
They broke her.
Yeah, probably. See, this is them digging around her to get her out. Like, I don't know. Anyways, they exist. My point is there's no like just by looking at that, you didn't look at everything, but you definitely saw that there's no ritualistic shit there, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't really think there was in the first place. So
well, yeah, obviously not. But for 40 plus years, a satanic cult killed a young woman in New Jersey. Maybe it's just because the photos you can't see any of the satanic shit, but like I doubt it. I'm not sold at all.
no, yeah. Cops aren't really known for Satanism. So
That's usually the Hollywood elite. Take that, fucking Idris Elba, you piece of shit.
yeah.
If the satanic stuff wasn't the focus for the media and the police, I think this case could have been solved years ago if it wasn't the police. That's just an overgrown wooded area they could have fucking moved their focus away from and tried to find some fucking crazy killer.
Well, I mean, the other thing is like it sounds like everybody was super fucking mean to her, so she probably just killed herself in the woods.
You know what? Not out of the realm.
Even her dentist was an asshole.
But you have to be an asshole to become a dentist. Like it's a circular pattern with that one. Like who wants to be a dentist? A fucking asshole.
Well, no, I mean, I've had nice dentists. I've had nice dentists. They're
You
very.
don't know his private life. Is that one of you, someone you grew up with?
No, God, no.
That nice dentist goes home and hits his wife.
I'll ask him next time.
RJ, these are some serious accusations. Who told you?
He's just making small talk. I'll be like, "What'd you do this past weekend? Hit your wife?"
I hate when dentists talk. Your
You know,
hands in my
soft.
mouth right now, you fuck. Stop talking to me. I'm not your friend right now. Just do your work. Like I can't even talk back.
That's how he likes it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you get
Who
hit.
likes that? Assholes. All this cop saying that there's crucifixes, there's fucking quarry named Devil's Teeth. There's a crucifix missing, a fucking crucifix. Only fucking Satanists steal crucifixes. Don't they hate crucifixes? I don't fucking know. Media love this. They made a bunch of money off this. Satanic Panic was a real thing. It just started actually back then. It was probably one of the first cases. And the media actually fucked over a bunch of people in those days saying witches and Satanists were going to come take your kids away and make sure to watch out for the scary people walking down the road. When in reality, it was probably going to be their uncle or their fucking stepmom that steals them and does really bad shit to them. So they probably could have been saved of all that fear
And cops.
and cops and priests. Really. That's the Satanist thing. It's obviously not them at all, and they did nothing. I do want to say that when this was happening, though, the leader of the Satanic Temple in 1972 came and spoke to the Newark Daily News or whatever it was called, and her name was where did it go? I have this written down somewhere else, but she's a hilarious lady, and she's just like, yeah, no, we don't do anything like that. We're all about ourselves. She like basically explains Satanism to the morons. Like, seems to happen every couple years publicly. Recently, it was that what's his nuts, the fucking blind dude drives me nuts. That guy, Greaves or whatever.
Oh, you don't like him?
No,
Uh,
Lucius Greaves. Hi, I'm Lucius
yeah.
Greaves. I have the personality of a fucking rock. We need someone like
Yeah, I mean, I
fuck
don't really care about him, but I think they rock. Oh,
the Satanists. Oh yeah, they're fucking awesome. I don't like him, is my point. He's like the leader of it. He's just annoying. He shouldn't be the guy talking for them, is what I'm saying. Be in charge. You shouldn't be the one on
I don't know.
CNN.
I think he's appropriately prickish. Like he doesn't seem like a chill guy to hang out with, and that's kind of who you want to be in charge of this really trolling organization that also does really good things.
For sure. That part's they do a lot of like civil shit that is phenomenal in the States.
Yeah.
But I just want to see like him replaced with like a mid 40s like Elvira fucking straight banged black hair, fucking have some fangs in, talk on CNN, be like super and then super professional and then like just break it down like
You
a
want a
lawyer.
more you want a more jerk offable to leader of the Satanic Temple.
No, I
Understood.
want someone that makes you want to jerk off to them so you want to like think they're awesome. Yes.
They're not having a hard time with that. It seems that you're the one having a hard time, or a soft time, as it were.
I can't jerk off to Lucius Greaves is what I'm saying. I've tried.
I don't think anyone was asking you to. I don't think we're supposed to support organizations based on how horny they make us, but
Yes,
that's
you
okay.
are.
It's an interesting way to approach it.
How do you make your decisions on companies? There's another couple of dumb theories. Like they connect us to the John List murder. We talked about that one before in one of our old episodes for the Watcher House. He was like connected as like the ghost of him and his family or the people in there. Just like, does ghosts move houses? I thought
Oh,
ghosts stayed
that's
in the same house. The only reason they even connect that is because like the List girl was in the cult too. They didn't know each other. They knew nothing, but like they both got killed because they were both into the occult. So there must be something that connects it. Okay, that's kind of dumb. Ed Kish has another little theory. Officer Ed. He said on the day she went missing, he was driving up Mountain View Road going to a call, and he looks into the Houdel Quarry and he sees there's a red Ford Falcon parked at the base of the Devil's Teeth. And he thought that was weird. Drove past, went to his call, on his way back, the Ford Falcon wasn't there. And he only remembers that because it was like a weird car to be inside of the quarry. Then 6 weeks later, they find Jeanette's body at the same place. Is this just the officer Ed Kish putting another alibi out there for himself or anybody else in the police force? Maybe.
oh,
Cindy claimed that when her and Jeanette used to go hitchhiking, which they did quite often, they used to get picked up by a guy driving a convertible. It wasn't a Ford Falcon, but she didn't remember exactly who he was. But the way she described the car was sounded more like a Camaro. They knew the guy's name was Mike. Mike was a couple years older than the girls, and Cindy thought that Mike had a crush on Jeanette, which Jeanette was uncomfortable about. Cindy said that in the book, she thought Mike was capable of killing someone, which that's a pretty bold statement for knowing a kid in high school. Be like, yeah, he totally could have killed someone. She describes him as a predator,
usually hear the opposite, but I feel like that's more likely.
that someone could kill someone versus someone could never kill someone.
Yeah, I feel like when I've heard about people from high school and like when it's been bad, I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. I guess you're right, because I don't live in a place like that. There's never been anybody die of anything, like do anything bad, terrible. Worst thing that I could think of from my kids, maybe a robbery. And that's one person out of like everybody I've
Oh,
ever
I mean,
known.
that's all I really mean. I don't know if anybody murdered anybody, or maybe I'm just forgetting. Lots of people from my high school died.
Well, that's what I'm just
But
saying. It's not as often that shit like that would happen around. Like you, because you do hear about stories as an adult, like these people as adults, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting that he fucking ran with the bulls or some shit. Like you hear like as time flies, but like I've never heard like, oh, that guy's in jail for like multiple murder or something like that. Which maybe that could happen in New Jersey. I don't fucking know. In this part of New
yeah,
Jersey,
well, that's because your graduating class was what, like five?
my graduating class is 105, maybe.
Hmm. No, that's not that small.
Yeah, Jeanette's uncomfortable with this Mike. She describes him as a predator. And another one of Jeanette's friends, too, described him as a predator. Melissa Brenner. She said that Mike tried to rape her in 1972. She fought him off and she escaped. So maybe this guy was capable of murder.
Yeah, it almost sounds like he was a cop.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a priest. Jeanette still felt comfortable taking rides from this guy though, so maybe that's not true. Like she still got in the car with him. So did Cindy. Like they just not like. Anyways, they could have made him that uncomfortable. Weird New Jersey got a letter about Mike as a suspect, though. They don't release his last name on purpose, but they do publish the letter anonymously. The letter tells a fun story about our buddy Mike. Mike used to self-describe as a warlock, so another fucking weird kid. So much so that there's a story that when he was about to kiss some other girl and he got close to her, but as soon as he got too close, he's like, "Oh, I can't kiss you. You're wearing that crucifix and it hurts." So he like made her take the crucifix off to kiss her. Just a weird kid.
That's a good save. It's a good save.
Why? What did I what say? Me save or him? He didn't want to kiss
Him,
her.
him,
Oh yeah.
him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're too nervous, you're like, ah, no, it's hurting my warlock powers. And then she'll go, oh my God, you poor thing.
This guy's so weird
So cool.
that maybe he accidentally did kill this girl and put her in like a trapezoid and thought he was gonna fucking summon a demon. You know what I mean? Like
They could be.
maybe this guy was weird enough to do that. Mike lived
Could
two
be.
blocks away from the corner of High Point Drive and Summer Road, the same corner that Jeanette was last seen on while she was hitchhiking. According to a friend of Jeanette's, Mike left town right after the disappearance of Jeanette. Police never spoke with Mike that I could find anywhere. But then I started looking into Mike a little bit more. Mike apparently moved away because his father just died and his mom couldn't afford the house anymore. But whatever. Doesn't change the fact that the weird kid moved town and couldn't kiss with crucifixes. So yeah, so they're just picking on the weird kid again. Ed Kish just found another weird kid and said, "Fuck you, weird kid."
They do sure love that.
Two more theories. One more theory. Red the hobo, the homeless man named Red. In October 1972, just about a month after Jeanette's body was found, Officer Kitch got a call from a 21-year-old named Terry Rickle. Terry told Ed that he had a tip regarding murder of Jeanette. He knew who did it. Terry said he didn't know Jeanette, but he knows who could have killed her. A guy named Red. Red was a tall dude, bushy red hair and beard. He was about 30 years old, and he lived in a hut in the forest near the Devil's Teeth. Red's summer job was a caddy at the Balsteroff golf course. I guess it's a famous golf course. I don't know how PGAs and shit. I don't know. Being a caddy in the 70s, though, meant, and I didn't know this is true. I didn't know Caddyshack was a real thing. That you just literally show up at Caddyshack and wait for some rich guy to show up and like make you caddy him for the day. You just hang out. Like, you want to be my caddy? And then they pick you up and they just pay you in cash. And
Makes
I didn't
sense.
know that was real. I thought that was like just for the movies. Okay. But anyways, Red was a well-known caddy. Big red, goofy looking dude. He's got hired a lot. He loved the summers being a caddy. And he would be a caddy all summer, then leave for the winter months and only return when golf started. And he'd always live out in the hut in the bush, right near the Devil's Teeth. And since the hut was nearby the crime scene, the police thought, hey man, maybe this is a good tip. Let's go check it out. It was only October. Golf season was still in full swing. So they figured, see what I did there though with the full swing thing? Anyways,
I did. I didn't care for it.
no, you didn't care for it, eh? So they figure, oh, we're just gonna go run into Red. We'll go to his little hut, have a little talk with him. They get there, it's abandoned. Abandoned to the point where it looked like everything was left in a hurry. Inside the like tin and aluminum shack was a blanket, some canned food, and some cooking pans. Inside one of the cooking pans, there was a bunch of rotting rice. Like I said, the yard was 50 yards from where Jeanette's body was found. So why would Red abandon the hut before the end of the golf season, and why in such a hurry? So police put out an APB on Red, and he's now a person of interest in the case. They soon find the guy. His name's Red Keir. And I couldn't figure out if his name was like Red or if that was just a nickname, but whatever. And they get him into the Springfield Police Department. They start to talk to him. They question him. Red apparently was from like a rich family in Georgia. He's like a rich kid. And he brings the family attorney with him. And he goes in
Nice.
for questioning. Which, guilty or innocent, anybody, just always bring a lawyer. Don't talk to cops. Cops are not your friends. They don't care if you're innocent or guilty. They just want you to say you're innocent or guilty. They just want to say you're
You're
guilty, actually.
innocent, guilty, a 15-year-old girl with mental illness, they will fucking kill you no matter what.
He rents for money, so he brings the lawyer, which probably a good idea. No one knows what that interview was about. There's no record of that interview anywhere, but they do clear Red as a suspect, and Red never comes back to Springfield to be a caddy after that season, and he stays away, probably in Georgia, maybe caddying somewhere else in New York, maybe set another golf course because he was liked doing the job. Red never came back to New Jersey.
Okay.
They blame the homeless guy now.
No, yeah,
We're seeing a little pattern here, aren't we? Which is kind of fun. Here's the next one. What other marginalized group have they not blamed yet? So like the weird kids, just the boys will be boys that were hanging out with Gail, the best friend, the boyfriend they harassed. Did they get? Oh, the homeless guy in
minority.
town. They haven't gotten a gay guy yet, eh?
Oh, I said minorities.
Oh, no minorities either. But I think it's New Jersey in the 70s. Would there be any too many black people in that part of town?
What did you just say?
I'm just saying, population wise
I think
and
you're Italian.
socioeconomically wise, I'm not being a jackass. I'm just saying, like, how many black suburban families lived in New Jersey in 1972?
I'm not sure, Richard, but I'm sure it's not too many.
What did I say? Too many? Not too many is like Jesus Christ. It's not. I didn't say too many. Not too many is like a full thing. Fucking douchebag.
I didn't fucking say it.
Yeah, but you're making it sound like I said it like in a way that's not that way.
You said you don't think there were too many black people.
What? Not too many as in like there's not 1,000.
I know what you meant. It was the way you said it.
Anyways,
You don't think
they
there
don't
were too many
marginalize a
black
black person. The cops don't actually go after the blacks in this one. That's what I'm saying. Good cops. But they definitely go after the
Wait,
handicap kid.
changing.
Tommy Rillo was the night watchman for the Hoodell Quarry. I don't know, security guard. I don't fucking know the word. He drove around a small motorcycle on the quarry grounds, checking up on everywhere nightly. Great job for Tommy. This is what the cop said because some people have described Tommy as kind of slow. Some say maybe not mentally handicapped, but close. People that lived in the town said he was 14 in a 30-year-old's body. Tommy was in his early 30s. Tommy only got this job because he was friends with some dudes that worked at the quarry. He would just drive around punching in clocks when he got to certain spots. They'd like give him like a little scavenger hunt every night, and you go to all the spots and get all your punches, and you can go home.
Okay.
And it gives him all the times that he made at all these places. So it gives him kind of an alibi for the night, just so everybody knows. We'll start there, but fucking who knows? There's rumors. Let's just say rumors in this town. So some people think that the 14-year-old brain, 30-year-old Tommy ran into Jeanette that night trying to smoke pot. And he was like, "You can't smoke pot here. This is the quarry, man." And then things get physical. Maybe something bad happens. Good old dumb dumb Tommy doesn't know what to do. So he just leaves her on top of there, lets her rot until someone finds her. And then he just play dumb about the whole thing. Have no punch clock on the devil's teeth, so never made it up there. Yeah, Tommy was just a fucking good kid that worked there. Nothing to do with any of this, and people start blaming fucking Tommy Rillo. Like, my God. And then they blame two serial killers, but both of them don't make any sense. We're not even going to get into them. Oh, yes, sorry. One more. This one has. Well, they blame the
Okay.
parents. That's another one people blame. People say since the parents didn't have any fucking thing, like they didn't have big emotions about the whole thing. Anyways, I don't think we're gonna get anything like bleed anything more out of this thing, man. Like there's more to it, but
I
the
mean,
other
we solved it
theories,
an hour ago, so
yeah, exactly. This is the overdose theory where she died at a friend's party and the friends just hit her up and the thing. It's all the same thing. It's just blaming somebody else when literally it's the
yeah,
police.
we already know this.
So yeah, it's the cops. Or the priests.
Or a cop priest.
Probably. Probably. Trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing here, but I think I got it all. I'm just, like very ripped right now.
I mean, yeah, you've been basically drinking the liquid out of that thing. Your eyes look like they're shut.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.